Good morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Sunday, June 23rd. Impacts, no significant ones for today, but we will start to see an increase in southwest winds Monday and Tuesday, starting across the western portion of the Great Basin and eventually spreading eastwards. This donut hole that we see here across northeastern Nevada on Tuesday, they'll still be windy, but looks like grass is there, still not fully cured. So at that point, there'll be winds. We don't see any significant impacts in terms of fire in those areas. But areas further to the west and south, and even to the north over the Snake River Plain, we should see the threat of at least some fire potential in the grasses. Precipitation last 24 hours mainly shifting to the eastern portion of the Great Basin. We did have some scattered lightning here on the right-hand side. Current Great Basin fire activity, current fires in the red, recent fires in the yellow. So had some activity here, especially in portions of southwest Idaho and some scattered stuff near Vegas. So again, mostly grassy areas, lower elevations, the main concern. Precipitation the past 7 days and the past 14 days have been tapering off. The only significant amounts across the higher terrain of central and eastern Utah and pushing up towards maybe parts of western Wyoming, but across western areas, pretty drying out significantly over the past 2 weeks. Now we're starting to see a response to the ERCs across portions of western Nevada. Southern areas, we're starting to see percentiles in the ERCs at 50th to 70th percentile, but there is some heavier fuel component involved in calculating the ERC. So if we look at some finer fuels, more representative of the grasses, you can see where we're down to 3 to 4% in terms of 10-hour fuel moisture across southern Nevada, parts of the Arizona Strip, and little scatterings across northwest Utah, northwestern Nevada. Fuel moisture has come up a little bit on 10 hours across Idaho because of the recent cool weather, but that will be changing pretty quickly over the next couple of days. Looking at 100-hour fuels, which is a pretty good representation, mixed grass and brush. Across northwestern Nevada, you can see they've dropped down to slightly below normal, normal being the gray line, red being the record low levels, and green line being the current. Down in southern Nevada, also hovering near normal levels, and in parts of south central Idaho, actually dropping down below normal on the 100-hour fuels. The live fuel moistures, however, still tell a different story. They're slower to react. They're still holding on to their water from the wet winter and spring, so they are above normal here across various parts of the area and still trying to come down. So the brush will not fully come to play if there's any significant fire activity. Satellite imagery shows another trough of low pressure dropping down out of the Gulf of Alaska, and this will bring another trough into the Great Basin as we go into the next couple of days. And we're just seeing a cold trough exit the region, so we continue in the same pattern we've had for the past several months. So for this afternoon, you can see that next wave of moisture and that trough low pressure approaching the Pacific Northwest. We're kind of in a zonal flow pattern, still mostly benign here on the right-hand side in terms of significant fire potential. Winds will start increasing out of the west-northwest in those orange shades over 25 miles per hour. Humidity starting to dry out significantly, single digits down into our southern areas, low teens in central areas, and still in the 20s further north. On Monday, that trough gets going, lots of moisture, higher humidity pushing into the higher terrain of Idaho, a little bit more into central areas of Utah, but a little drier to the south, significant fire potential on the right. There are those winds increasing across western Nevada, those pink shades, 30 to 35 miles per hour. Same across the Snake River Plain, the humidity levels at mid-20s, near 30% in Idaho. Driest single digits again in our far southern areas, but the wind down there not quite getting going on Monday. It is by Tuesday this huge, unseasonably deep trough of low pressure gets going. Notice the push of drier air by these orange and reddish shades into our southern areas, and they will very quickly go to brown, which is increases fire potential because the 10-hour fuels, grasses will react very quickly to several days of breezy, dry weather. The humidity levels again for the third or fourth day in a row down into the single digits. The winds will start picking up a little bit there as well, but especially strong winds. Purples over gusts over 45 miles per hour across northwestern Nevada. 3-day precipitation totals, not much to speak of across the Great Basin. Further down the road, deep trough low pressure, lots of moisture in the Pacific Northwest and maybe parts of eastern Idaho and western Wyoming, but further south will be on the dry side. That'll continue the brown colors through here, a very fine line between possible activity to benign conditions, drying out significantly across western Nevada. And that trend, that breezy weather under that trough continues by Thursday and finally tapers off a bit by Friday. So definitely a prolonged area of strong winds and low humidity for our southern areas. Saturday, another trough of low pressure over the Pacific Northwest, but bringing drier air, and this could bring maybe some fire threat to fuels that are recently dried across our western and southern areas, given by fire potential here on the right-hand side, more brown on the map. 7-day precipitation totals, most of that moisture from those troughs will stay to our north, so we should continue to dry out across the region. 8 to 14-day outlook, June 30th to July 6th. We expect to see near normal temperatures, but notice the below normal precipitation. This is due to the lack of a monsoon pattern, lack of a four corners high pressure system, because so many of the storms are coming out of the northwest. They're preventing the monsoonal moisture from getting going. So areas like the Arizona Strip, southern Utah, southern Nevada continue to stay dry. This concludes our briefing. Have a great day.